the unknown holds people back even from like their next job. So as a leader, you want to model for your team what you want that to be. And so I believe in self-care, you know, take your time off. I don't want anybody working around the clock. And if there is, then let's talk about it. As a media company, we recognize that we help inform people's perception of other groups. How do I make sure that they feel like they are part of this, you know, of this world and included and they're being heard and all of those things? And that's literally what I wake up thinking about.
Today we're talking with Debbie King, the Senior Vice President of Marketing, Communications, and Culture Velocity at ViacomCBS, the multinational media company based right here in New York City. Before this role, Debbie King was the Vice President of Brand Strategy and Marketing for the NFL. And of course, most recently, Debbie was named, congratulations, the top woman in media by Cynopsis. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Debbie, thank you so much for joining me on Q-Tales.
Thank you.
I'm thrilled you're here. Before we get into the tale, I like to start with a little bit of a warm-up if I can. Tell me, did you think ever you were going to be in the world of media and marketing?
Not media and marketing.
And starting your life.
Yes.
What did you want to do as a kid?
I think way back, I wanted to be a lawyer, but
a lawyer?
I never really went down that path, so that wasn't going to
Are
happen.
you a good arguer? Were you able to get across all the things you wanted?
I have been told that. I will say that. Yeah, I bring my receipts.
Where did you grow up?
Originally born in the Bronx and then grew up in New Jersey in Madison from 2 years old.
Oh, because we were looking at the Brooklyn Bridge moments ago, and you were remarking that you had seen it your whole life.
I had spent a lot of time in Brooklyn after I graduated from college. But
I see.
Many people know that the documentary was just out on the Chicago Bulls from 1998,
I watched
The Last
Dance.
Dance.
Quite good.
I was a huge Michael Jordan fan, probably from like 9th grade. And now that I look back and really watch that, I realize that me working in sports, as you said, I was at the NFL, was from being such a big fan at that point in my life.
So you were inspired by Michael Jordan to be like, I know, I'm going to go join the NFL.
Well, I loved the behind the scenes part of sports. And so the business, I wanted to work for Nike. And at the NFL, I worked a lot with Nike. So I haven't worked for Nike, but that's really where my interest in being in the sports and entertainment world really started.
There's no rush from ViacomCBS for sure, but if you're out there, Debbie King, just saying, just I said it, she didn't say it, it was me. But it's a new gig for you, so congratulations. Tell me what you're doing. 6
weeks after I started, we merged with another team,
right.
And then Viacom and CBS merged about a year and a half after that. So now I am, as you said, the SVP of Marketing, Communications, and Culture for Velocity, which is ViacomCBS's branded content studio.
Right.
And so we work with our advertising partners on their marketing campaigns. And for the Velocity team, I oversee our internal and external communications, also our culture, which we define as learning and development, DEI initiatives, our social activities for the team. And I also have overseen the development of a multicultural capability for all of ViacomCBS.
This is probably one of the most important things they have going on right now. If I'm reading the tea leaves correct in the universe.
Yes.
So you must be a busy person on that.
I am very busy.
Moving on from the NFL, you were 11 years there.
Yeah, 11
So it's a huge beast. It's a massive operation. Just having some tangential exposure to it. That's how we met, actually.
Yes.
You've gone from massive role to massive role. Right. So it's a really interesting transition that you've done. So how did you make that transition?
You know, when I was at the NFL, again, as you said, a long time, 11 and a half years,
like
plus years.
Triple length.
Yes, and worked on some amazing events, you know, obviously went to the events, and what I did with my team was oversee kind of how everything looked, so brand marketing. And, you know, I got to the point where I felt like it was time to move on.
Sure.
And really at the core of what I was looking for when I moved was really about a great culture, you know, and, you know, I value my family above everything else. So to be able to, you know, have frequent time with them, they live close to me. So very big West Indian family. So that was really what was important. And I was very fortunate to find that in ViacomCBS and go into that job. And as we said, it's been a process, and I've been on a couple jobs as the different mergers have happened, but all in a great way, and have felt exceptionally supported, you know, in doing the work and getting to this place.
Such an important job you have there now too, and dealing with the B2B side as well as the culture piece. So it's not a small job for you, Debbie. What is the business transformation that you're trying to help happen at ViacomCBS that will help move it from the status quo that it's been in to where it needs to go into the future? And I recognize this is a large question for your company because there's a lot of things that are changing.
Right. I mean, streaming is the big
I get that.
story,
It's a
but
large
I won't
topic.
go there.
Okay.
I'll go to similar to just the day-to-day. So the importance of multicultural marketing is one thing, you
Right.
know, that, as I said, that's part of what I'm working on developing is this capability.
Right.
And part of that is that, you know, whatever year people want to use that we're going to be majority, minority, 2045, or
Right.
they say already kids under 17, whatever it is, you have to be ready to serve those audiences and diverse audiences and do it authentically.
Right,
And what does that mean? That means on the inside, you have to have the expertise. Your teams have to be diverse. You have to understand other communities and have empathy and all of that good stuff. So that's really the work, the day-to-day work. And Content for Change, for example, is a platform that ViacomCBS just released, which is really about informing the content that we're putting out there, because as a media company, we recognize that we help inform people's perception of other groups, right? And so we want to put rigor and research behind that so that across everybody who creates content for us goes through these steps. We have a diverse supply chain that's equitable, and we make sure that across, you know, everything's getting developed. So
This doesn't touch. This touches every part of the business.
Exactly, and
So,
including our internal culture.
yeah,
Right?
and I think those every single piece needs to evolve. So you suggested that you're going to change internally the culture to help change the content that ViacomCBS makes. How can you measure that?
Well, one thing that I try and clarify is the difference between DEI and multicultural marketing. DEI being your internal culture and all of those pieces. And I really strongly feel like the more work that we do on the inside, the better our output is, right? And that impacts our multicultural marketing to make sure that it feels authentic and, you know, all of those things that go together there. And so our metrics for measuring how are we doing are often tied to the inside parts of it. Do we have more diverse teams? You know, are we getting RFPs that, you know, are authentically reaching? We can test our creative to make sure that it's resonating with the audiences that we intended it to. And then we bring that information back in-house to benchmark it. And there have had to be some hard looks internally at some of our programming to say, you know, if we really need to have people who look like this audience be behind the camera for it. You know, casting to me is just table stakes, right? Like,
right, casting is the
that's
easy one,
fine.
right? Because
It's
you can
behind the camera, who's writing, who's directing, all of those things, who's making the decisions about what goes on the air. You know, all of those things go into it to really transform our business for the future. And again, the future is diverse, right? We're almost there now.
Is there a hesitation inside of entertainment to not have that happen?
Well, I think you said it before, which is I think some
I
of it
probably
is,
did, Debbie.
Some of it is unconscious for people.
Yes.
They don't, in some cases, people don't understand that what you're saying or what you're putting out there is actually offensive to people because you don't know why. And so
Right. The lack of
find-
education could be the issue, right?
So I find we have less of an intentional
Sure.
issue and more of we just need to educate people and kind of, you know, make sure people are aware. And that's of all cultures.
Totally.
All groups, demographics, LGBTQ plus community, Black community, Asian community, everything.
How far has the entertainment community evolved in this journey? If it was a day and it was dawn
Yes.
and the end is night,
Yes.
where are we in this journey?
Well, I think we all saw a year and a half ago, everybody make their big proclamations about what they were going to do and the money that they were going to donate. You
Which
know.
were proclamations that I felt some were at least statements,
Yes.
and some were companies that actually believed philosophically it was important to evolve. So tell me what you think where we are.
Yes. So that's where I think we made some big statements. I don't think we've made the movement tied to the big statements that we could. So if with statements we were supposed to be at 6 p.m.
Okay, that's pretty
Maybe
aggressive.
we are at 10 a.m.
We're in the beginning.
Yes.
It's early days. Early days. I actually think that's a reasonable assessment. That I think business leaders would say they're further along than people who are actually in the trenches doing the effort
Mhm.
would say like, nope, we're just getting
Exactly.
started, just getting started.
Exactly.
But I think everything's a process.
Yep.
And this is a critical business transformation that I am super happy we're highlighting on the series. I like to uncover, if I can, a personal realization, something that you might have thought, something that I think this is true, but ended up being wrong. I love knowing those moments because it feels like for me, that's when I learn.
Yeah.
Have you had those kind of moments? Anything you can share?
Yeah, what I would say is I'm probably going through one of those right now.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Because again, if we pull back to the beginning of the story where I said I always wanted to work in sports, I went to college, I didn't know how to get into sports, and I ended up going to grad school to get a degree in sport management to be able to break into it. And so that's what was always in my head. And once I started working at the NFL, I felt so blessed to say, I work in my passion, and this is what I want to do, and I'm a marketer, and I'm doing sports marketing. And once I did that, then it became, okay, I've done my dream job. Now what do I want to do? And I'm still there. And what I've learned through this transition, I did think that, it was the best thing in the world for you to be able to say, this is my passion and what I do. But as I've transitioned into this role where DEI, or making sure that people are heard and seen, and younger people especially, I always say that's why I do this work. I don't do it for me because I'll say anything to anybody.
Right.
But I'm fortunate that way for my personality. But, if other people can find their voice and can grow. And so I've found through this and this transition, particularly over the past year and a half since, the murder of George Floyd, is that doing things that really impact people's lives, that's as satisfying as what I thought was, oh my God, I love working in sports. This is my passion.
Interesting. So you've gone from a kind of a personal passion that was about something external to an internal passion.
Yeah.
And that is that's obviously a really important thing because the world around us has changed importantly, so dramatically.
Right.
And the business world needs like leaders like yourself to help make, frankly, the business world better.
That's invaluable to me. Like, I do wake up saying, like, how am I going to make sure that these people that are sitting in this office or in their Zoom living rooms,
wherever they happen to be,
how do I make sure that they feel like they are part of this, of this world and included, and they're being heard and all of those things? And that's literally what I wake up thinking about. And it's baby steps. You don't undo things that people have done their entire lives through, 3 training sessions, but but every bit of progress matters. And I also think that this can be transferable. It's not that I need to do DEI work in my life, but I am taking that, doing whatever it is that's impacting people and, making them get to their full potential.
You do mention this thing, and I think it's important to highlight it, that there 3 classes is not equivalent to suddenly being woke.
Right, exactly.
And it's hard. And it takes honest conversations and exposing, being like open, like, I don't know this. Right. How can I say this in a better way? How do you gently or forcefully educate individuals to have conversations that are historically uncomfortable?
Well, we have, as part of our team, on the Velocity team, we've had mandatory trainings. And so what I think that's done is really just open up the conversation. And so we're trying to build a culture that says, it's okay if you don't know, but once you do know, you have to act differently, right? So, or to empower people when they see something that just doesn't seem quite right, speak up. It doesn't matter if you're a coordinator, if you're an assistant, it doesn't matter who you are. And so I think that's putting the pieces together to say, you won't always be right, because none of us, everybody makes mistakes. But we're going to give people the grace to make their mistakes, but you have to correct that after it. Right? And so that's the real work that isn't just about in our walls. It's real life work, right, for people.
That's so important. Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's important to share as much as possible, frankly. I'm going to do some one-word associations with you.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Here it comes. What's your perfect breakfast?
One word?
Sorry, you can. This is a tough one. I would go. It's got to be something and something.
There is a place that we go for brunch that has the best pancakes.
Is it in New York?
It is in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
It's actually a chain, but the original Pancake House. And those pancakes, that first bite.
Yeah. Your most relaxing day?
I love to read. almost
actually reread?
exclusively romance novels.
Okay.
And I do read them on my iPad, though.
Okay,
so
fine.
I haven't touched an actual book in a long time. But I could spend an entire, I've got a chair that's my comfortable nook that I could just read all day.
Nook.
And it just really
Do you want to make a
relaxes me.
recommendation to our audience? Which one you happen to love? The romance novel? I'm assuming it's
I mean,
Fabio's on the
all
front of it.
them. You're dating yourself.
Sorry. Fabio is not a thing anymore, guys? I thought Fabio was a thing. No? Fabio? Okay. Fabio is not a thing. Debbie, I just wanted to make sure you were clued on that.
Right.
Fabio is old now.
Update. Yeah.
Got it. What's your hope for the future?
I just want people to treat people well. I mean,
Isn't that?
it shouldn't be hard.
It shouldn't be hard.
Just the trauma and the pressure and everything that people carry around, it doesn't have to be this way.
I totally agree with you, Debbie. Debbie, you were amazing. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Debbie King from ViacomCBS. Thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having me.